All right, so in this short demo, I would like to show you how you can do testing for your ETF projects. You're gonna apply this for lab number 3, lab number 4, and also the project, so that'll be very handy. Okay, before I go to iPad to explain to you the ideas, let me tell you how you can set it up. It's actually quite straightforward. Okay, I assume that you downloaded the starter project with all the beginning acceptance tests, and also you download Oracle. Notice that the Oracle is only available in Linux. We deliberately don't distribute Windows or Mac or other platform just to avoid confusion. So whenever you want to use the Oracle, you have to use from Linux. Okay, that's the only constraint. Okay, but I'm going to demonstrate on my Mac. Okay. Okay, so now I assume the following directory structure. Let's say I already downloaded Oracle to the desktop, and also the zip project, the starter projects in the desktop, and also under EECS workspace, I got ETF. Okay, similar to your tutorial. Let's say ETF currently is just empty. Okay, so what I would do is let me just use a command line so you can reproduce on your Linux. Okay, so now first of all, let me go to my desktop. Okay, over here. So now you can see I got Oracle here. I also got this guy here, the zip. Let's now move the zip to the workspace. So I can say move the chess.zip and under EECS workspace and also under ETF. Okay, and then let's see that EECS workspace and ETF. Okay, let's unzip it. Okay, that's everything you got. We haven't generated ETF yet. You have to generate on the Linux as well. Okay, let's do it now. So I will first of all go into chess solitaire. Okay. Oh, notice one thing. I want to emphasize again. When you eventually want to submit for your lab or the project, you have to submit this particular top level starter folder. Okay, you will see this another folder with the same name. Don't submit that one. Okay, be careful. Okay. So now what I will do is I'll first try to generate a project. So when you run the ETF, make sure the current version is 1.14. It's really important. The previous version contains some bug. I just fixed it. Okay. Okay, and then I'll say ETF-new, and then you're going to choose this particular events file. Okay, with all the grammar, chess solitaire events.txt and the current directory. Okay, dot. Okay, everything has been generated. So now what you will see is under this particular starter folder, we got another chess solitaire, right? So this is where the model folder will locate. That's where you should develop your own design. Okay? Now, before I do anything else, I want to switch the mode quickly. If you go to the root class over here under root, go to the root. And then let me just maximize it. Okay? Notice that by default, we have the GUI mode for you for ETF. It is okay if you work on the beginning on the GUI mode, but I would suggest move on to the command line mode as soon as you can, so you can make use of the regression tests. Okay? How can you switch it? What I will do is I will simply comment this out. Okay? Leave the middle part. Okay? So now it's a command line mode. And then I will go back to here. Let me just compile from command line, which you did from the lab 0. EC and then -C compile. Let's say we don't try to finalize, we simply say freeze. And if you recall from lab 0, if you say freeze, it's going to generate a W code folder. Okay? Just quicker for compilation. And then I would say config, and then chess solitaire, the ECF file. Okay? Don't memorize it, you can just refer to it. So now, after this, it is going to generate the ifgens and then W code available for you. Okay, we're almost done to set it up. And then I can explain to you the idea about regression testing. Okay, while it is doing it, I want you to do one more thing. Remember the Oracle that we downloaded to the desktop. I want you to move it to a place. Let me go back to my desktop here. That's Oracle, right? So this is the starter project that we downloaded. I want you to move the Oracle right into that starter project. So that's at the top level. Okay? Just do that. Okay? And then one more thing to do. Okay? That one I can do from the command line. Okay, it's getting there. The idea is later on you want to add as many acceptance tests as you can to make sure your software is ready for use. Okay? I think almost done. Okay. Okay, that's good. Okay, it's now done. So now you can see that one more thing to do. You can see we got all the acceptance tests that was given to you, the expected file and also the actual input test. Now, we want to move them under the tests folder and then under acceptance. And now you can see there are two folders over here. One's called instructor, the other one called students. I would say the 7 cases I gave to you, move them to instructor. Anything you want to build later, move them to students. So have a clear separation. But I'll show you how you can run them all at the same time. So what you will do is, from the command line, okay? So I can say move everything starting with at.txt into tests, acceptance, instructor. Okay, it's now there, okay? So now if you look at that again, you can see under instructor, we got everything here, okay? So now we are going to download the acceptance test framework, okay? It's written in Python, so feel free to modify it if you wish, okay? Otherwise, it should be almost ready for use. So what I would do is I'll go to your lectures page, and then you can see under tutorials, there is a link for IFO testing framework, okay? Click on that, and then you will see that there's a script for regression testing of acceptance, okay? Click on that, there's a lib folder for you, okay? Say, save the file. We're gonna choose the following. Okay, remember we chose the desktop and then the workspace under ETF, under that starter folder. Okay, put it at the top level. Put it there. Okay, and then I'll go back here, and we are now still in the top level folder here. Okay, so now you can see that's the zip we just downloaded. Let's unzip it. Okay, so now everything's unzipped. So now, if you go into this particular folder, there are only two files you should really look at, but only one you should really modify. I'll make it bigger. Okay, the only file you have to touch is something called etf test parameters.py, Python. That's the only file. Everything has been set up pretty much for you. Okay, but I'll just go over very quickly for you, just in case you want to modify them yourself. Line number 7, we say that the root folder for the test will be the tests folder that we just went over, right? The top level. Under which we want to make sure every time we run a regression test, we want to run under acceptance and then instructor, and also acceptance and then students. Which means if you go back there, under tests, we got acceptance. We want to run all the test cases under these two folders. That's what we are saying. Okay. And then you can see over here, is expected. I simply put it to false. Simply means we got the oracle given to you, so you don't have to worry about creating the expected file yourself. Okay, you can leave it as false as default. And this is important. You can see we say ... oracle. I'll just explain to you very quickly. It's the relative path. You can see that we are currently in this particular regression testing folder, right? We are saying go to the parent folder, which is the starter folder, chess solitaire. And then remember, we simply put oracle here. That's a relative path to refer to the oracle, okay? If you don't prefer this place, feel free to change it if you wish, okay? Okay, finally, the only thing you have to fill in is go to line 34. Where is the executable for your projects, okay? So again, similar idea, I say ... and go to ifgens, and now just put in the name for your projects. For this particular lab 3, it's chess_solitaire, okay? Chess_solitaire. Okay, the same for the executable name, just by default. So we are basically referring to ... refer to ifgens, under which we got chess solitaire, and then we got under W code, and then we got this executable. Okay, so now the idea is we got oracle, we got your chess solitaire. We want to make sure they're somehow equivalent to each other based on the number of test cases you can write. Okay. Before I run it, I want to show you conceptually how things work, and then we can run it, and then you can start. Okay, so a diagram to show you very quickly, okay? So basically, oracle is given to you. So this is something we assume to be correct. Okay, of course, if you find any bugs, let me know. I may have to fix them, but assume that it is correct. Okay, and this is your program over here, which we want to make sure it is correct before you submit. Okay, so now both of them will take a common set of inputs over here, 8001 up to 8007 in your case, but you can develop as many as you can. Okay, and then you have if you try to run the Oracle program on this input, whatever you generate, we call them expected outputs. Okay, that's why you can see .expected. That's a convention. And whatever that's generated from your program on the same set of inputs, we call them actual output. Okay, very similar to the Eclipse idea. You got expected output, you got actual output. Right? Okay, so now the idea is these should be identical. So AT01.expected.txt must be character by character identical to AT01.actual.txt, and etc. The Python script you just downloaded, just set up, it will help you automate this process. As easy as that. So now, very quickly about what does regression testing really mean. People say when you do reading, you don't want to have regression, like go back and forth, so many times. However, for software development, regression testing is a must. So what does that mean? So now, assuming that for your program over here, you're trying to make some change, let's say. Maybe you fix some bug, you extend your software somehow, let's say there's a change. And typically, change can be extension, or can be maybe a bug fix, etc. As soon as you have done that, before you move any further, what you have to do is make sure, number one, all the existing input file can still make your program generate something that's identical to the Oracle. You see what I mean? Okay, number one. Number two, whenever you're trying to make a change, try to see if there's any extra test cases you want to generate. Maybe you want to add another AT10.txt, and then rerun the regression testing framework. It's going to make sure everything will pass. If anything fell, you should really fix it. Okay, that's kind of the idea. So this process should be ongoing. Okay, don't do it only maybe 5 minutes before you submit. That's not the way to go. Yes. Oh, good question. So what's the difference between this acceptance test and unit testing? Okay, let me help you find the answer. Let's have a look at one of them. It's a very important question. Okay, guys, let me repeat the question. The question was, how is this regression testing different from the unit testing? Okay. To make it more precise, we talk about acceptance testing. Let me just bring to you one of the file for example. If you go under instructor over here, let's say AT01.txt. Okay, let's have a look. If you look at that, each line, we say, for example, line number 4, set up chess, and also line number 20, move and capture, right? So these are more like an abstract user interface, which means when the user, let's say you develop a mobile interface for this, it can just be a touch screen click. If you're developing some web app for this game, it can be a mouse click. So now, there is no binding between the name of the events and the actual method or feature names of your software. So when you are testing using acceptance testing, you're only specifying the user interface name over here, which never changes. It should be stable. On the other hand, when we did unit testing in the previous lab, you have to refer to the actual name of your program to test them. So that's the difference. Well, to summarize, to do acceptance testing, you don't have to look into the code. You just test the software like a black box. If you do unit testing, you have to go into the code to see what feature to call. That's the difference. Yeah, I'll try to emphasize again in the class. Okay, good. That's a good question. Okay, so now, any question about this diagram here? I'll make it available to you as well. So you just always keep this in mind. Okay, it's a good practice to have. Okay, always make sure any change you introduce to your software still guarantee everything still runs. Yes.
So we're not generating our own executable. We're giving executable that is the expected output.
Yeah. So you can think about what you're given is this Oracle here, which we assume to be correct. So any new test case, for example, AT10.txt, what should be the expected one? You should consult with Oracle. And then Oracle is going to generate something over here, expected. Of course, you cannot blindly just believe the Oracle. Anytime you develop a new input case, you don't think the Oracle output is correct, let me know. Then I can try to fix it. Okay, we can discuss. All right, finally, how can you run the script? Okay, so everything has been set up. Okay, I want you to pay attention to one folder over here. That's important. If you look into the regression testing folder, okay, there's something called log. At the moment, we don't have anything just yet. As soon as I run the test, they're going to generate something inside the log. Okay, they're going to generate exactly these files. It's going to generate, number one, all the expected files produced by the Oracle, and also all the actual files generated by your WCode program at the moment. Okay, let's try that. If I go back here, okay, and I already modified my executable to be the correct path. Okay, so what I would do is to run it, go into regression testing. Okay, go into that folder. Okay, the program to run will be this etf_test.python. Okay, it's already an executable. Okay, just that. Oh, .py, don't forget. Okay, it's actually going to run it. Okay, don't be too surprised, nothing passed. But eventually, I hope for lab 3, you might want to have close to, I'm just giving you a magic number, having something close to 50, maybe. Okay? 50 or, depending on how large each test case is, right? If you try to test maybe 20 different things in each test case, you might just need 3. Right? That's fine. Try to do as much as possible. Okay, that's expected. In the beginning, nothing passed. However, to make sure it really works, I want you to go into this guy here. Go into log. Now you can see acceptance was generated. Under acceptance, we got instructor. You can see actual file. Let's look at that. Does that look familiar to you? Default model states, right? That's exactly what the starter program is generating, which is completely wrong. Okay, but that's okay. Right? And then if you look at the expected file, this one should be exactly the same as what we gave to you. But for now, you can just use Oracle, use this testing framework. If you look at that, that's what you want to generate eventually after you have implemented the projects. Guys, are we okay? All right. Anything not clear? Try to practice this particular process. I think it's quite valuable. Later on, once you go back to Java or any other language, you just want to search for what kind of script you can write for regression testing. Idea would just be the same. So always keep in mind this particular diagram. Okay, okay, I'm going to make this available, okay, this diagram available to you, but everything I said, you got the links already. Okay, you can go ahead and start.